November 15th, 1982. This is Joe Todd, interview at Della M. Roberson.
Roberson.
Roberson. R-O-B-E-R-S-O-N.
Right.
Okay. Mrs. Roberson, where were you born?
MacArthur, Ohio.
When's your birthday?
December the 24th,
What year were you born?
1877.
That's amazing. What's your first memory of MacArthur? What's your first memories of MacArthur?
Well, we lived about 2 miles from town, I think, best I can remember, on a farm. And we went to town every few days, as kids did. If they wanted anything, they'd send us to town after. We'd go across the fields. I don't know. I don't have too much memories of it.
How big was MacArthur?
She wasn't very old when they went there.
I don't know.
How old were
It was a pretty good sized town. Lots of stores. But that's just about all I can remember about it.
How old were you when you left MacArthur?
Well, let's see. About 10, I guess.
Where'd you move to?
We moved to Missouri.
What part of Missouri?
Salem, Missouri.
Go by wagon train?
Can't remember that either.
And you moved to Salem?
Ask her how they went when they moved.
We moved on to a farm. And
You don't remember how you went to Missouri? By train or by wagon train?
oh, we went to train.
By train? Did you go to school in MacArthur? Did you go to school in MacArthur?
No.
Did you go to school in Salem?
You go what?
Did you go to school in Salem?
Oh, go to
Turn
school.
that thing off just a minute. Okay.
Yeah, we went to school at
MacArthur.
a country school.
Do you remember any games you played as a child?
No, I don't.
When did you come to Oklahoma?
Oh, let's see.
1916.
I don't even know that.
Ask her if it was 1916.
Was it 1916?
Yeah. I guess it must have been 1916.
Who is your father?
Alec Henderson.
Alexander Henderson?
Yes.
Where is he from?
Oh, I don't know. He was kind of a rambler, I think. I think they moved around quite a bit, but I don't know where they went.
Who is your mother?
She was Elizabeth Douglas.
Where was she from?
Kansas, I think.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
How many?
Yeah.
I have 3 sisters and 4 brothers.
When you came to Oklahoma, what part did you come to?
Well, let's see, where did we come to?
Ramona.
Where did?
Ramona.
Yeah, well, we'll come to Ramona first. That's right.
What was Ramona like when you moved there?
Well, it wasn't a very big place. It's a couple of stores, I guess.
Bank.
Wasn't a very big place, I don't know.
Drugstore. Oil boom.
Yeah.
They had a lot of the richest. When we came, same year, it was the richest school in the state of Oklahoma.
Did you come to Ramona also?
Yeah.
Why did you come to Oklahoma? Why did your folks come here?
Well,
She was married.
my father knew some folks that lived here, and they wanted them to come. And I think that's the reason they
And
come.
a sister in Ramona.
When did you meet your husband?
Where did I meet him?
Where and when?
Oh dear, I don't know. Been so long, I
Yes.
forgot.
Yes, you do. After she met him at a dance.
You met him at a dance?
I think so.
What year were you married?
Oh,
1907.
hmm.
1907. Will let them pick up my voice too. 1907.
1907?
I'm just trying to think. I believe it was 1907.
May the 19th.
No, not 1911.
May the 19th.
Yeah.
Um,
I forget so bad.
was your father in the Civil War?
Hmm?
Was your father in the Civil War?
I can't tell you that either.
Do you remember the Spanish-American War?
No.
1898?
Not much about it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Did you all have a big party at the turn of the century, 1900? New Year's Eve?
I don't know that.
Mm-hmm. Remember World War One?
I can't remember a thing about the wars. Seems like. Been so long.
When you moved to Ramona, what kind of house did you live in?
What?
When you moved to Ramona, what kind of house did you live in? Was it a frame house, brick house?
A frame house.
Frame house? Do you remember what the address was?
Streets weren't.
Huh?
The streets weren't numbered or didn't have names then. They do now, but they didn't. That's just within the last 12 years. They put up names down there.
What kind of work did your husband do? What kind of work did your husband do?
Well, he was he ran a gasoline plant for a long time, run the engines at the gasoline plant.
For the Title Oil Company.
Was that here in?
In later
Northwest
years,
of-
why he farmed.
Of Ramona, northwest of Ramona.
When's the first time you came to Bartlesville?
Oh dear, I didn't know that.
What was Bartlesville like first time you saw it? What was your impression of Bartlesville first time you saw it?
I don't know that.
How long were you married?
Oh, I don't know how long. I can't think.
Mm-hmm. What are some of your fondest memories of your childhood?
You know anything about that?
Your childhood? I wasn't there.
You wasn't there. Did you ever hear me say anything about it?
Oh, you used to go to the dances and
Oh, yes, I went to dances.
rode horseback. She had a side saddle. They had dances on Saturday nights and parties, and she rode a side saddle.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we went to dances all the time. I don't know.
Was this in MacArthur or Salem? Or Ramona? Or all three?
All three.
She was dancing for a minute.
All three.
Just in Salem, wasn't it?
No, not in Salem, I don't think.
She's out in the country.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about Salem and the school you went to there. What was it like?
Wonder what was I?
The school in Salem you went to? What was your school like?
Oh, they had pretty good stores. Big stores.
What were the names of some of the stores?
I can't think of that either. That's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Selby's and Vandevort's. Selby's 10-cent store and Vandevort's
Vanderbilt.
drugstore.
Well, that was one store.
And Selby's 10-cent store. Martin's department store.
I just can't think.
Did you know Mr. Foster here in Bartlesville?
I don't believe so.
You know Frank Phillips?
Who?
Frank Phillips?
No.
Knew of him.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people can say that they really knew either one of them.
That's true.
I especially Foster. About a year before he took him up Sacred Heart and he died. Took care of both of his daughters.
What was he like?
Oh, he was a guy. He was a swell guy.
He was.
He took me to a picture show one night.
He did.
Yeah. Did everybody just think it's a old man has to take his nurse with him to go to the show? Chauffeur took us. He sat in the back of the show. It was over. They took me home. He went on home. Mrs. Foster had already seen the show.
Mm-hmm.
With Clark Gable and something. I forgot what it was. But she'd already seen it. And so she said, you take Mrs. Roberson. Miss Roberson. I wasn't married then.
Was he, what? Was he all the time in a good mood, laughing, joking? Was he a solemn type? What?
Could be both.
Could be both.
And he was a peach of a guy.
How did he get his start in oil?
How?
Yeah.
His father, I think. Through his father.
Let's see.
But we were out at La Quinta when I took care of him. Her mother used to come down here from Chicago every winter. I'd stay out there 2 or 3 months with her. Personal maid more than a nurse.
Mm-hmm. When did you become a school nurse?
42.
42?
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you work in the school system?
27 years.
27 years. So you retired not long after I got out then. So
72.
Well, I got out in 64.
She's done a lot of traveling. She's flown to Washington State. She's flown to California 3 times. She was in a great niece's wedding out there in 78. She had a big 100th birthday celebration down at Ramona, the Baptist Church. She's a devoted member of the Baptist Church down there, and has been since 1916. And she had a little boy. He died with meningitis, 1918. He was 7 years old. And then they moved out on a farm. They had a farm, 80 acres, out northeast of Ramona. Lived in Vera. And let's see. Trying to think. She always has a birthday party every year.
Christmas Eve?
No, we have it before Christmas Eve because everybody's too busy on Christmas Eve. We always had a birthday party for her, though. Elmer and I had this 100th birthday party for her. She had people from, I don't know how many states. 13 of them flew from California. Nieces, nephews. 2 nieces in Missouri, Oklahoma City, and Kansas, and Broken Bow, and I don't know.
Mrs. Roberson? Do you remember who the preacher was at the Baptist Church in Ramona when you moved there?
I can't think what his name was. I know it. Well, I just forget. Not too many years to remember. I just can't think of names and things. What was his name?
How big was Ramona back then?
Oh, it wasn't too big.
Can you tell me about some of the interesting people you've met in your lifetime?
Oh, no. I never met too many.
Oh, sure, you've met someone interesting. Being from Ohio, did your parents ever meet Abraham Lincoln?
I just forget. I'm getting too old to remember. I just, my thinker won't work.
And she flew to California one time, and Ronald Regan was governor. And he had a representative out there and wanted her to come down and have lunch at the White House, at the governor's mansion, and the TV was out there, and that was in 1967. And when she and her family part of her family went to California by wagon train, and it took them 5 months and 4 days to get there. They stopped along the road and worked. The boys, 2 of her brothers went.
Did she go?
Yeah, and her mother had rheumatism. She couldn't move, turn herself or anything. They had to turn her on sheets. And the doctor back in Salem told them that get her out to California on the coast. So they, her father and 2 of her brothers went out there, and they'd stop and hunt rabbits and work to get a little money to buy some grub, as they say.
You think a northern route or southern route, or?
That's where I learned to shoot jackrabbits.
Do you remember that trip to California?
Yeah, quite things about it I don't remember.
Well, tell me about it. Tell me what you remember.
Well, I just remember about
Regan.
I'd ride that in the seat with my dad. He's driving, and I'd sit with him, and we'd see the rabbits at the side of the road under the bushes. Real bushes growed everywhere then, all over the prairie. And we could see a rabbit by. If I couldn't see it, he'd see it, and then I'd shoot it. That's where I learned to shoot.
Mm-hmm. What was it like going over the Rocky Mountains?
Yeah. Oh, and there wasn't much road over the Rocky Mountain either. It's rough, my goodness, and big as high rocks. And some places we'd have to clean the road out before we could drive through it. But the rocks rough. Wasn't hardly any roads.
What year was that?
Hmm?
What year was that?
Let's see, I can't think what year we went. You know, she's with us, or knows she's been with us, telling, so she knows better than I do. She remembers it, and I don't.
Weren't you 17? Weren't you 17 years old?
I guess I was. I don't even know that.
I think she's 17, so it would have been about 90.
I think something like that.
What? 4?
Yeah.
84, 7, 91.
We hadn't been out very long till my mother got so she could just walk as good as any of us.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Santa Barbara.
Where
did you go?
Went to Santa Barbara.
What was Santa Barbara like at that time?
Well, it wasn't no big place, but it was. We thought it was quite a place.
Does that pick up Neice?
Yeah.
Aunt Della, tell him what you did about the old missions and about going on a boat ride out in the ocean on that big long pier that we went out on.
Well, wasn't much I could tell. But then went in a little boat out to the big boat, and 5 of us, I think, 5 or 6 went us out, and but it made us sick. And then there's some guy had rowed out in just a rowboat, and he told me and another girl that was with us that if we'd go back with him, why, we wouldn't get sick. And we could go back in the rowboat with him, and we went back with him in the rowboat. We didn't get sick.
How long?
I remember that much.
How long did you spend in California?
Oh, I can't think about that either.
Just about a year?
Yeah, I guess it was. I can't think when we left there even.
Did you come back by wagon train?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have any memories about the trip back?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Well, a better trip back than it was going.
How come?
Well, we knew the way better. We didn't know the roads or anything going. And
did you go through Colorado or New Mexico?
We went across the little corner of New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him about the old mission up there and about the bells.
old mission had been there for years. We went out there, and there was a guy there that run the old mission, kind of seen after things. We got acquainted with him, and he showed us around the old mission, and the cemetery was there, old graves, and all mildewed and everything,
Do you remember the Depression of 1907?
No, I don't.
What about the Depression of 1931?
I just don't seem to remember anything about them. Any of them.
How about the dust storms, the Dust Bowl?
Well, the dust storms was pretty bad, but I don't remember too much about them.
Do you remember trying to keep the dust out of your house?
Oh boy, we'd tie something around her face. Try to keep from getting so much dust.
How would you keep it out of your house?
Oh, I don't know.
Sweep it out.
Do you remember World War II?
No, I don't seem to remember about World War II.
When Elmer was gone? When Elmer was gone to the war?
Don't seem to remember much about it. Somehow.
You should. You got a book in there, scrapbook, with all these boys from Washington County that went to the service in World War II.
Yeah.
All of them.
What?
Keith Carter, his brothers. Of course, they lived down Oshweda then.
Just get away from her.
What are some of your fondest memories you have? What are some of your fondest memories that you have?
Oh, I don't know.
Having your little boy.
I guess so. I expect that to say it.
He died with meningitis.
I just everything slips my mind.
I sure do.
What was that like?
It's terrible. My mother was so sick. She had it. My dad was taking care of the boilers down at Ramona School then. They had closed that gasoline plant where he and my uncle worked.
I just can't tell you anything because I don't know it. I just gets away from
She
me.
was so sick. Yeah, she was going to die.
Quite a few people died in that, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. They died by the hundreds, I guess.
How'd they finally stop it, or what'd they do?
I guess it just wore itself out. I don't know. They didn't have anything to give me, antibiotics like penicillin or anything then.
Mm-hmm.
But
Too long ago.
ask her when her husband passed away.
When did your husband pass away?
Yeah. You can find that in that Bible.
Well, he wants you to tell him.
Well, I can't remember when it was.
November the 5th, 51.
51, was it? I can see it all, but I can't think, no.
Where was he from?
When it was.
Where was your husband from?
We live in Ramona.
No.
Was he from Missouri?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Salem. she thought he was a pretty handsome guy. Had a mustache. He didn't?
No.
I thought he had a mustache.
He did once upon a time, and I didn't like it, and he shaved it off, and he never did let it grow
That's when
anymore.
I took her to California. And we got to San Francisco, and I don't know how they got a hold of it, but they thought when she went by covered wagon to California that she went to Sacramento. That's where we were going. We had to change planes in San Francisco. And they wouldn't let anybody get on that plane until she was on. She and I were on it first. And Frontier Airlines, and they took pictures. She got a write-up in the Frontier, what was it, Frontier News, and sent us some pictures. That other picture was in the Frontier News, and they sent us several copies of it. And when we got to Sacramento, though, TV station had somebody out there. Frontier News, and they sent us several copies of it. And when we got to Sacramento, though, TV station had somebody out there, the newspaper, and Ronald Reagan's somebody. And I just had a terrible time trying to convince them that it was not Sacramento that she went to, that it was Santa Barbara. But they did put a write-up in the Sacramento Globe or whatever they got out there, 2 or 3 papers, and about her. Then we came back, and the pilot announced that she was on the plane, and there was a couple up front of us who had been to Hawaii, and they had several leis, orchid leis. So they had the stewardess bring Aunt Della an orchid lei, and I had a little instamatic. So I said, why don't you put it around her neck? Let me take a picture of you. So I took a picture of her, putting it around her neck. And that was quite just like traveling with a movie star.
Yeah.
And then we took her, then she flew to Seattle. She had some nieces and nephews in Seattle. And she went up there in about 70. Then Elmer and I took her to California again in 73. Then she had a great niece who was getting married, and she wanted Aunt Della in her wedding party. So we took her to the wedding. Went out to the country club and for the reception, and she wouldn't drink any champagne, but she drank some orange juice. Stayed out till 12:30. And she's washed her feet in both the oceans, and she's 21 presidents. Hand me that piece of paper, Aunt Della. Both of them. Both of them. All those presidents been in office since she was born.
Since Rutherford B. Hayes. This picture says White Oak School, Salem, Missouri. Is that where you went to school?
Yeah.
Are you in this picture?
Yeah.
Which one are you?
Oh, I don't know that I can't see it. I was out along here somewhere. Yeah, I was in that.
Is that the school building?
Yeah, that's
What was your teacher's name?
what was her name? My goodness. Didn't think I'd ever forget it. Ought to have their names on.
That might be on the back. I don't know. No, doesn't have teachers.
Is her great niece's wedding?
Mm-hmm.
Mandarin was her
And that's
name,
the
but I
niece's
can't
great
think
niece's
of it.
brother, who was an usher taking her down the aisle.
Mm-hmm. How old were you when you went to the wedding? How old were you when you went to this wedding of your great niece?
Oh, when was that? That wasn't so long ago.
98.
Oh, that picture wasn't taken too long ago.
What's the great niece's name? What was her name?
Leslie Schultz.
Is that her married name?
Maiden name.
They live in California? What part of California?
Fresno. I guess she was 103. 102 or 103 because she told him she'd come back and see him when she's 105. Her husband's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. So this is her brother?
Mm-hmm. Her mother's a teacher out there, and their dad is a supervisor for about 5 or 6 of those big fruit farms out there.
And that was marching up the church aisle.
Mm-hmm.
And that one.
Come on the other side.
Yeah. So it's Rutherford B. Hayes.
And she's been in, did she give you that other? All of those states.
Mm.
Been in the East Coast.
33 states.
I think there's 33 there. Mm-hmm. Oyster feet in both oceans. And
yeah.
Ask her about her church activities.
What kind of church activities are you involved in?
Oh, not too many. We was out in the country most of the time.
What does the M stand for in your name?
Hmm?
What does the M stand for in your name?
Maude.
Maude?
Della Maude.
Anything you'd like to tell your great nieces and nephews?
Oh, I don't know what to be.
Oh, you surely would give them some advice, wouldn't you?
I don't know what to be.
Well, can't you tell him about how long you belonged to the Baptist church in Ramona and about Uncle George being a deacon down there for 100 years?
No. No, forgot half that. We've always belonged to Baptist church. for long years.
Mm-hmm. This is just an information sheet, and we need her signature that we can use this if anyone's doing research. And it's just a release that it belongs to the Historical Society to be used for historical purposes.
We tell her, she'll.
Okay. Mrs. Roberson,
Mm-hmm.
this is an information sheet from the Historical Society, and I signed it because I interviewed you, and we need your signature here so that we can use the information that you've given us on the tape.
You want me to sign it?
Yes, ma'am. Right here, on the line, right there.
That line?
Yes, ma'am.
How about that for 105?
What are you? Now, are you her niece?
By marriage.
By marriage.
Her husband was my dad's brother.
Okay.
What, do you type this all out then?
We'll go through, edit it, and if someone comes in and they do research on certain subjects and there's anything on this tape that's pertinent, we'll pull the information. And it's
Well, she hasn't given you very much about herself, I don't think.
oh, you never know what's important. And we use this strictly in the museum for historical purposes. There's no commercial venture of any kind allowed in these. That keeps, like any newspapers, magazines, that's strictly not allowed.
Well, you know, here about 2 years ago, someone from Tulsa World called her down at Ramona and wanted to come up and see her. They came up and they put a picture of her in the Tulsa World and a write-up. The write-up was real nice, except they made great length of her living by herself, which I objected to very much. And I called that bird down at Tulsa World. And I'm sure he felt bad when I got through talking to him. Because there's just too much meanness going on with people getting to older people.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd had one experience down there. Somebody, of course, she didn't have any income. My uncle didn't have Social Security or anything except a little welfare. And a couple of guys came up there from Tulsa. They had a Tulsa tag. The neighbor's son saw the car and said that she had overpaid them. Welfare had overpaid her $264, and they came to collect it. Went across the street and told the old man. So her neighbor across the street called me and told me about it. So Elmer and I went down there. And we couldn't get a hold of George Hughes, the sheriff, then that night at all. But it happened that this old man across the street, his son was there visiting. And he came down from town just as they started to drive off. But she wouldn't keep her doors locked in the daytime.
Did they get the money from him?
No. She told him she didn't have any money. That I took care of all of her, buying her groceries and all of her money.
Mm-hmm.